Good afternoon. What can I do for you?
I want a cake, flan on the bottom layer, a little bit of key lime. I want it to have a little bit of zing, some pineapple. I want a layer of SpaghettiOs right over top.
Chef, we've got a pretty unusual request for a cake.
What's the problem?
Well, so I'm just looking for a cake. I want it to be just right, though, and I hear that you might know.
You have to be a politician because you're a pain in the ass.
Oh,
Come on back in the kitchen.
all right, why not?
Let's go.
Yeah, I can do that.
Let's do it. Here comes the Democrats. Yeah.
Welcome to another edition of Travels with Charlie, Vermont Politics in Real Life. I'm here at Chef's Corner with my good friend, Chef Jozef, and representative from Essex, Dylan Giambatista. And Dylan came in today and just asked for an off-the-wall cake, and I said, let Jozef show him how to make a real cake. But I also realized that not only do you disagree on how to make a cake and the right ingredients, but also on a couple of issues that Dylan's pretty passionate about, and that's raising the minimum wage in Vermont, as well as paid family leave. So he's all scrubbed up, he's ready to go. Why don't you show him how to decorate this cake? And in the meantime, let's get everyone's thoughts and views.
The big discrepancy, I think, in our business, the restaurant business, is between the front of the house and the back of the house. The front of the house is making 5 something now. I think when that goes up, we'll go to 7 something plus tips. So they're making around $30 an hour. And the back is not allowed to pull any of the tips from that. So I think that it would be a great idea if they would come up with some kind of an equilibrium system where the front and the back of the house are user-friendly towards the income. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you're talking about the tip minimum wage and the discrepancy between what we currently have, which is $10.78 per hour in 2019, and then half of that for tipped workers.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's one of the many challenges with looking at how we set a floor for minimum wage. And the whole idea here is you set the floor, wages come up, there's more money in people's pockets.
But it should be equal between front and back of the house and the restaurant business. When you make a rosette, it's got to look like a flower, okay? So a flower like beautiful like that. See that? That's a flower. You don't want to make it look like a dog poop.
So let's
Press
give it
slowly.
a go.
Don't shake because you're on TV now. All right, that's not bad at all.
How about that?
Not bad at all. Okay.
One of the things that I often question is, okay, so we raise the minimum wage and it's done in sort of in an artificial manner because Jozef would pay people more if he could, but with doing that, you also have to raise prices.
Well, in the long run, the consumer's going to feel it because if we put everybody on to $15 an hour, which is possible, is doable, prices are going to have to go up. We have to maintain a certain percentage to have our business successful. And it's easy for politicians to say, bump it up to $15 an hour. I don't know if a lot of these politicians have ever worked in a restaurant or anything.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. I was a shift manager for many years at a locally owned pizza shop here in Chittenden County.
So you understand.
For me, what I would say is when people have more money in their pockets, they're going to buy more goods and services, which is good for the Vermont economy. Right. And when we actually look at the needs of Main Street, we are a small business economy. We need to strike the right balance. But for me, when people walk into your shop and they have money, they can buy a cup of coffee, they can buy a pastry.
It seems to me that you're both theoretically in agreement on raising the minimum wage. You would do it if you could. Certainly,
It's got to be a good formula.
It's got to be a good formula. There's no disagreement there.
Sure. It's got to be a fair formula.
We all want people to make more money. They have more money. They're going to spend more money. They're going to buy more cakes. But when it comes to paid family leave, that's where you get a little passionate.
Yeah, because we can't afford it.
Well.
Unless there's some kind of a government backup on it. Why doesn't the government get involved and say we'll pay 2 weeks family leave, or if it's pregnancy, what's the time now for pregnancy?
So currently, it depends what type of insurance you would have, but we're looking at a 12-week leave for bonding time, so that's if you have a child, and then additionally an 8-week leave for a family health crisis or something of that nature. The system that's been envisioned actually provides some flexibility. Whereas when we first had this conversation, there was talk about an employer share. We're now looking where there would be essentially a premium collected because it's a family and medical leave insurance program. So just like any other insurance program, you pay a premium. Now that premium would come from the paycheck of the employee. The employer has the option to pay part or none of it, in which case it would come out of the employee's paycheck.
Are you following all this?
Yeah, well, let me jump in here.
I mean, I bake for a living.
And
I'm going to give you a little decoration on your...
On my jacket, there we go.
Oh, that's just beautiful.
Who's deciding that?
How are we going to pay for it? That's number one. It looks like it's going to be paid by employees paying into the fund, correct?
Well, that's what it looks like right now. There's also an option for employers to actually decide who should pay what share. So that's another piece of the bill that just came out.
So ultimately, you may be asked to pay a portion of that as well, but
Now, the nice thing about the current program, the House just passed the bill recently, is that it actually does create a circumstance in which the employee can pay for it. If that's the agreement between the employer and the employee,
Yeah, but
it
how
will
does the
come out of their
employee pay
wages.
for it if they're
Now, on the
making
other
15
hand,
bucks an hour?
an
Right.
employer might agree to
Right.
do it.
Yeah.
Well, so let's talk about what it is. So we're talking about
He needs
a
to slow down.
.00.
slow 'em down.
It's about 1/2 of 1%.
Well, you know what? I spoke to our accountant this morning about this, and he said to me that the system works if people are honest. We have an incredible team here right now at Chef's Corner. They wouldn't milk the system. If people don't milk the system and they're honest, say they come and have a legitimate problem, the grandma's really ill, they need to go to hospital, whatever it is, and then the paid family leave can kick in. I don't have a problem with that. But you're going to have people who are going to milk the system, and that's a problem. And I don't think the paid family leave should be too long. I think the pregnancy leave, personally, should be 3 months. 3 months, a woman should be able to stay at home with a newborn.
So we're wrapping up our conversation here at Chef's Corner in Williston. Let's talk about, I hear from people that are working that have actually refused a raise because if they get the raise, they would lose some of the benefits that they have. So it's talked about all the time, but it's really never dealt with. Yeah. It's that cliff. You got, all of a sudden you're making $15.50 an hour, but you're not going to get any sort of no help. Yeah. So it's like, don't give me the raise because I'll lose all this. That needs to be dealt with. It seems that every year the legislature talks about raising the minimum wage, and they really don't pay attention to that benefits cliff.
Yeah, and so the benefit cliff, in the previous biennium, we actually did enact reforms there. And what this is it's just creating an economic disincentive for individuals to take a higher paying job because they may have a situation in which they might be a single parent where they are getting some assistance with their child, whatever it may be. And on the other hand, our biggest issue, one of our biggest economic development issues, is affordable child care and accessing child financial assistance dollars.
It's unbelievable.
It's a huge challenge. So that's my primary
worth working.
concern. When we talk about raising wages, we got to figure out what we're going to do for that low to moderate income earner who needs some assistance in order to get their kids into child care. And that's something that we're all focused on. I know that if we're going to have this conversation, we're going to be focusing on benefit cliffs. At the end of the day, states on our borders are enacting different policies. We know we have New Hampshire that's keying off of the federal minimum wage. We know we have New York that's moving toward $15. So we are not an island, and we need to develop policy that puts us where we are relative to our peer states. And there is a healthy medium. On the other hand, we have an employment challenge. We have historically low unemployment, and we need to fill some of these jobs, and employers are telling us they're struggling to find folks. What I will say I'm encouraged by is that in Vermont, we have a scale of government where folks talk, and that's what it's all about.
Let's have some cake.
Let's have some cake.
Now we're talking.
Pistachio, lemon, apricot, raspberry, white chocolate.
Look at this. I mean, is it just...
No, that's too hard.
No, this is outrageous.
No.
Oh, my God.
Thank you for letting us come to your restaurant along with Chef Scott and the entire crew here at Chef's Corner. We've been enjoying flourless chocolate cake and macaroons this afternoon, and I think if there's any agreement, once again, it's that the food and the people at Chef's Corner are awesome.
How do you do that in one bite?
All right, that's it. Cut!
Well, it's all about
Hey, guys.
all the folks you meet.
Guys?
Sitting
Thing
in
got
a
a lock on it?
diner or out in the street. Catch up with the news. Get your point of view. I want to hear what unravels. I'll see you in my travels.